Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to your comments. And it is the 11th of October, 2024. It's 6:03 a.m., and it's 67 degrees outside in Pahrump, Nevada. We're through the triple digits, and we're headed, the slope of temperature is headed down over the next week. So I'm looking forward to some nice weather coming up before I head to quartzsite in the middle of November. Coming today is going to be another quartzsite video, and it's going to be on all the events and things to do in November, December, and January in Quartzsite, Arizona. So if you're going to go, I can give you an idea of all the things that you might want to do and experience. So, comments on RV home base options in Pahrump. M. Campbell, that's I went through. I think I talked about that yesterday. Was that yesterday's video? I'm getting confused. Oh no, it was the day before. So we got a long form video that trickled in. It was on RV home base options. There was a mobile home park that I thought was very nice. And Naj says, wow, that's really nice. I've seen sticks and bricks homes that are small and not as well kept here in Southern Florida. Only 10 feet on one side, 10 feet backyard. That RV park is very nice. And it was very nice. Not everyone's cup of tea, right? It's not a lot of trees, not much room between the homes, but boy, if those things don't matter to you and you want just nice and clean and spotless and a nice little resort, then that's going to be your cup of tea. Subliminal advertising on the guy putting up happiness signs everywhere in his town. Lisa Ross says, what a great idea. And another M. Campbell says, very nice mobile home park. The only thing lacking is sidewalks. Older people benefit from walking. You can walk on the street, but with the possibility of elderly drivers, not ideal. I don't agree, but I think it's because you weren't there. All you saw was the video of it. There's plenty of room for walking on both sides of that street. And whether they delineated the side as a sidewalk or not, I don't think would make a difference. I think that if there's some elderly driver that's out of control, they're going to drive up on the sidewalk as easily as anywhere else. So I really doubt they have any problems with walking. And you didn't see people walking at all because it was friggin' hot. It was really hot. It was probably 100 degrees when I was driving through there. So that's why you didn't see walkers, but I'm sure people walk. 21-year-old trusted weather authority in North Carolina. This is a positive news story. 21-year-old college student has a Facebook page where he talks about the weather and gives forecasts and information. 400,000 followers in North Carolina. A lot of people depended on this young man for information when the storm came through, when Helene devastated that area, and good for him. And Ken says, we need people like this everywhere. Good job. On the comments video, Ken says, I'm in Central Florida while Spectrum internet is out. AT&T internet is working, so I get to watch your video. I have a brother in Clearwater, St. Pete, who went into a hotel. It's without power or food. I'm concerned, but there's no getting to him with the damage in his area. Yeah, I hope he's okay. I'm sure he's in a hotel. He's safe. They'll take care of him. And Judy responded to him and said, I'm surprised the hotel was open to customers. When I lived in Pensacola, all the hotels would shut down due to insurance concerns. Thank goodness everyone's okay. Then we have this one. So I had a little disagreement with someone. It was on avoid getting your LTVA permit revoked in quartzsite. It was about the rules. And the back 4939 says, well, the Chevron deference decision will change this since the rule, not a law approved by Congress. That's just wrong. It's not correct. So I tried debating this. I said, I responded and said, that's not what the ruling means. The ruling means adjudication must occur in the court system and not the agency. It does not invalidate the rules. And it doesn't mean the rules are unconstitutional. These agencies are given the authority directly by Congress to make these rules into administrative law. The issue was, if there's a dispute on ambiguity or interpretation of those laws, until this ruling, they would have to go to the agency to get that answer. And the Supreme Court says, no. If there's a dispute, the courts must handle it, not the agency. That's what the ruling means. But he responded to that and said, it means people can take it to court to get the system changed. And no, it's not what that means. Now, it's true, you can take anything to court to get a system changed if the court agrees with you that the system is unlawful, right? Then you go to court. You don't need a special Supreme Court ruling to allow us to do that. So I said, I suggest you read the opinion directly. It says that disputes about ambiguity in the administrative laws will be decided by the courts and not the issuing agency. It's very plain and simple, and it really is. And it's, I struggle with, this isn't the kind of thing I delete, because there's no ill intent here. This is just, I think, a fundamental misunderstanding. And it's misleading, though. That's why I argued publicly about this, because this Supreme Court decision doesn't mean you don't need to follow the rules in the LTVA. It doesn't mean the rules are invalid. That's just a real misinterpretation. And if you're reading, a news outlet or something that's telling you different, as I suggested to him, go and read the rule. The ruling is pretty plainly worded, so you can go directly to the Supreme Court site and read the ruling. And furthermore, you can read the opinions by the justices, and it'll really tell you very plainly what this ruling means. And you don't need to rely on someone else's interpretation. You can form your own interpretation. And this one, it's, I think, pretty straightforward. Judy Vowell says, we might mention for newbies in Q that if one office is closed, the other might be open. So look for one of the four that has a flag flying. That's true. What I was talking about in the comment video was that when you first get to quartzsite, if you come for the first day of the season, like September 15th, they never have the stickers available for sale. They just don't. They're not available that early. And what they tell you is the first day that we have the stickers available, we're going to raise the flag. So that's kind of the exception, because they're there, but they don't have the stickers. And at the beginning of the season, once they have the stickers, the flag goes up for the first time for the season. And that's the signal for everybody to come in and buy your stickers. 21-year-old trusted weather authority, Rose says, that's cool. And on the subliminal advertising, Judy says, this is great. We get massive amounts of subliminal messages for food and eating, and look how at peace our country is. So maybe this will make our country happy. Was the point of the video. That's very astute. Critical generator information. This was my video, long form video yesterday, and it was one thing in particular that I learned about generators and altitude, that I see lots and lots of videos out there about RV generators and running your AC, how big of a generator, soft starts and all that. There's a ton, but there wasn't one that I saw that talked about the effect that altitude has on the power of a generator. And I found out that for every 1,000 feet of elevation, you lose 3% of the power of the gas generator. So that doesn't sound like a lot until you go from 898 or 8 or 900 feet in quartzsite to 7,000 feet in the mountains of New Mexico. So 6,000 feet elevation change, 6 times 3, you lose 18% of the power of your generator. And if you're running your AC in quartzsite on a generator where it's close to the top of the capacity of the generator, guess what happens when you move up in elevation like that? Your generator, your little generator, will no longer run your AC. Ask me how I know. I found out the hard way. And I had Honda techs working with me that never even asked me what my elevation was. They kept looking for other explanations and finally said, you need to get it into an authorized dealer because you need service. And it turns out I didn't need service at all. So anyway, Pup Camper 58, my friend Cheryl, is saying, good information on generators, Rob. I'm still using my little 2000 Predator that I bought in 2018. I took it in and had it serviced this summer, and it's like brand new. I've been very happy with it. When I bought it, I didn't anticipate using it for the air conditioner. We'll have to see what the weather is like in quartzsite this winter as to whether or not I need to buy a larger one. Usually, by the time I get there, the weather is cooled off enough so I don't even really need the air conditioner. The only time I've needed it is one year where I stayed pretty late into March and it started getting really hot, so I was using it. You know, a 2,000 watt generator, the Predator 2000, I'm going to assume that the 2,000 watts is the surge wattage. So I'm going to imagine it's probably around 1,500 or 1,600 running watts. And that is probably at the very edge of a 13,500 BTU air conditioner that you would need soft start to start. So I would say if she doesn't have, why don't I just read what I answered her, because I did the math. I just remembered that. If you have a 13,500 BTU AC, then the running watts will be about 1,500 watts, but the startup of the compressor will take 3,000 watts. You would be good to go if you install a soft start like mine. And for those of you who don't know what that is air conditioners have a compressor in them. And to get it started, to kickstart it, it needs a big surge of power to start that compressor. And if you don't have it big enough, and what I'm saying here is her 2,000 watt Predator is not big enough to start her AC. She probably has a 13,500. That's a standard size for a smaller trailer, or medium to small size trailer. So it wouldn't start it, but if you have a thing called a soft start, it's basically a capacitor that is wired into your AC that takes the power coming in and stores it over a minute or so in this capacitor. So this capacitor can surge out the 3,000 watts that you need to start it. So the bottom line is the 2,000 Predator would probably run the AC at quartzsite at 800 feet of elevation. But much above that, when you start hacking off that 3% every 1,000 feet, even with a soft start, it probably will not operate it. There's probably the 1,500 watts you need to run it continuously is probably pretty close to the running watts of that 2,000 is probably 1650. I don't know. I'd have to look it up, but it's probably, I know it's going to be real close. Anyway, going into the weeds again on generators. A little bit older video, my thoughts about the nomad community. Rick, Roby, Alaska. Hi, Rob. My wife, Betsy, and I are new fans of your channel. I don't know why anyone would have a mean word to say to you. Me neither, but they exist. We've been binge watching your channel and haven't heard you say anything that wasn't kind and respectful of your fellow humans. We started watching you because of the quartzsite videos, as we're going to be spending our first season there starting in November, and we're trying to prepare as much as possible. In some way, through watching your videos, we feel like we're old friends already and hope to run into you there and maybe buy you a cup of coffee. And yes, the Rick Roby AK is because I'm originally from Alaska, but I'm a nomad for the past few years, living in Mexico for the last year and a half. Take care and maybe see you in quartzsite. And I said to him, "Wow, would love to hear about living in Mexico. I'm in town almost every day in quartzsite, and I frequently meet and talk to subscribers. I will arrive there in November 15th. And if you're in quartzsite, I want to meet you. I do. I don't care who you are, where you're from, what your politics are, what your religious beliefs are, anything. If you watch my channel, I want to meet you." Louise Cash D. You've given me great elevation info for our Jenny. This may help us out a lot. It's one of the reasons the the generator information on altitude is so important for nomads. Is many of us spend the winter in quartzsite at that 800, 900 foot elevation. And then when it gets hot in the summer, we go up in elevation for lower temperatures, right? And theoretically, we won't need the AC if we go high enough and it's cool enough. But if we're sort of there can be periods of time in the summer, even at a high elevation, where you get 90-degree plus temperatures for a little while, and it'd be nice to have that AC. And if people don't understand that you're going to drop 18 to 21%, depending on how high you go, if you're going to go between 7 and 8 or even 9,000 feet, 9,000 feet would be almost 25% reduction. And I think a friend of mine, Sally Forth, points out here, you can rejet your carburetor, put in a different jet for a higher altitude. Actually, the most recent generator that I bought came with a jet kit for higher altitudes. You have to know how to be confident in knowing how to change that. So I think that comment's coming up. So I'm glad that is helping you with your decision making, Louise. Let's see. My nomadic dream on the generator. Great information, Rob. I have a Predator 3500 generator. I found out the hard way in Phoenix heat was that the generator would just quit working mid-afternoon around 3 or 4 o'clock when it was at the height of the daily temperature. So I'm currently at an RV park at Quartzsite Split Rail. I'm sure you've heard of it. Until mid next week, once the temperature gets below 89, I'll be headed to La Posa South for the first time. That's great. You're going to be there this winter in the same place I'm going to be. I'll be in La Posa South. Now, as far as the generator quitting in the heat, I haven't heard of that before, but if a generator is going to quit in the heat, it's going to happen in Phoenix or Death Valley. I mean, Phoenix gets so hot. But I do not know whether that would be a typical expected thing for a generator to quit in the heat like that. I would not think so. But I don't know. So if you have, in particular, Tim, if you're watching, Tim, my friend that I camp with, was a generator expert in the Army, and he might know the answer to that question. So Tim, if you do know whether that's a reasonable thing or not, if you could jump in there and answer that, I'd really appreciate it. We'd all appreciate it. Thank you, Tim. I've been an electrician for 40 years and never heard of altitude affecting a generator. You learn something new every day. Love it. Thanks. In Key West, we have 0 altitude. Laugh out loud. Great info. When I started reading that, I was afraid because I've been an electrician for 40 years and this is not true. It's not what he said. And I realized that the issue is not an electrical issue. It's a combustion engine, more mechanical and physics issue. But if you doubt the information I'm giving you, I do in that video. If you want to watch that video, critical RV generator information, in the description I have a link that shows an article about the 3% per 1,000 feet. And if you doubt the source of that article, if you Google generator altitude adjustment or generator altitude, you will find a plethora of information out there with that 3% per 1,000. So it's legit. Not that this was Pete Diaz. He wasn't saying it wasn't legitimate. He was saying, wow, I was an electrician for 4 years. Didn't know this. Now I know it. Thank you. So you're welcome, Pete. Rick, another reason we need to get together, Rob, and market for a generator. Yeah, I was saying I haven't sold my Honda yet, and I'm probably going to sell it in quartzsite. Sally, here's the Sally Forth. For those who want to change elevations and are willing, changing jets is not that big a deal. Now, she says it's not that big a deal. Understand this about Sally. She used to own and run like a landscaping company with what are their big assets? Little engines, right? So Sally knows what she's doing, unlike most of us. So this is no big deal to Sally. It may be a big deal to people like you and me. For those that want to change elevations and are willing, changing jets is not that big a deal. That allows a smaller, lighter footprint. The easy solution for those who don't care about weight or size is to buy the bigger Jenny. It was definitely hot in Las Vegas. I told when I bought my bigger generator, it was in Las Vegas, New Mexico, not Nevada. And Sally was my co-pilot when we went and bought the Predator generator. So, and she helped me make that decision. Here's Tim. It's sad the technician charged you $200 labor for a job that takes 15 minutes, and I know for sure because I put soft starts on both of my ACs. Well, Tim, like I said, Tim's an expert, right? Tim could do it with one hand tied behind his back, blindfolded. I would imagine much easier and faster than even a good RV tech. Can I swear under penalty of perjury it cost me $200? No. That's what I vaguely remember. It was a couple years ago. And it was a guy, a tech out in quartzsite. And now that I'm thinking about it, it might have been a twofer. That might have been installing the soft start and doing something else for me. Resealing part of the roof, or maybe I don't know for sure, but $200 for labor for a tech to come out to your rig and do anything. Yeah, it sounds a little high, but not that high. And keep in mind, I could be wrong. Martin, as a licensed pilot, I understand that altitude definitely affects aircraft engine performance. No surprise that generator performance is also affected by altitude. Great info. Thanks. There's more backing the theory. And then Rob Hebbs, altitude actually affects carburetors in the older cars and trucks too. Yes, you can adjust for putting a different jet to compensate for the elevation. When I see someone using a 2000 Honda to run their air conditioner that's running full blast the whole time, does not seem good for it. Now, that makes intuitive sense. If you have a small generator that you're using, to run your AC, and it's running at 100% while you're running that AC, and I would say the more revolutions you put an engine through, it's not going to last as long. Now, I'm not sure that's as big a deal with the Honda, with the copper coils versus the aluminum coils, and it's one of the reasons why the Hondas are more expensive than just about anything. It's the materials that go into making it, the quality. And these little Honda generators go for, you hear people saying 10, 15, 20 years. But it does make sense that if you have a larger generator, running at a lesser percentage of the capacity, it's probably going to be better for the generator. So it's hard to argue with that, but I'm not sure it's a huge deal. And for me, with my Honda, when I use it for my AC, I rarely used it for my AC. What I used it for mostly was charging my batteries when I had a string of like rainy days and I didn't have enough solar. I would fire it up to charge my batteries. Tommy says on the RV home base options, hey Rob, the sound was perfect. Did you see the northern lights where you were tonight? We did it and it was beautiful. No, I did not. Lisa Roth, it's really good that people heeded his warnings. That's on the 21-year-old student that does the Facebook weather thing. Lisa commented on the generator video, said good video and great timing for it, Rob. Let's see. M. Campbell says fascinating information on the generator thing. I have a Honda, so I'll definitely keep in mind. You may have saved me a good deal of frustration. Thank you for sharing. And let's refresh, because that looks like the end of it. And we'll see. Reload the page, see if there's there are no new comments. So that's all the comments for today. A little bit longer than yesterday. I hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to upload this, get it out there. And like I said, today will be a quartzsite video on the events scheduled in November, December, and January this year. Take care. See you tomorrow. Thank you for hanging in there with me and watching this.